What's up, everybody? This is Dan from Can You Take It Films. Got Dustin D-Madge with me. Skipped a video last week, kind of taking a break after the Friday the 13th festival. Hope everybody enjoyed it. But what I wanted to do a video on, and there'll be a couple of these throughout the month of October, is, and I know it's kind of popular on YouTube to do like 31 days of horror through October and watch a horror movie every day. But I thought it was kind of fitting for what we do here at Can You Take It, and it's a solo thing. I'm the only one doing it. Dustin's just here to kind of talk about the movies and ask questions and stuff like that. But basically, since October 1st, I've been watching one every day, and each Friday we're going to do a review, put it out, and go over the movies that I've watched. I can tell you right now that I already am sick of it and don't want to keep doing it anymore because it's just hard. I really only have about 2 hours of free time a day because just with work and my daughter, put her to bed and then you can watch a movie. So that's about all I've been doing.
It becomes kind of a job, right?
It does. It becomes a chore, but I mean, we'll go over kind of the fluctuation of feeling. And my dog, get away from there, is being annoying as usual. Okay, first on the list, and let me start this timer here. First one on the list is the new Texas Chainsaw 4-disc release. It's got 2 Blu-rays, 2 DVDs, and first thing I'd say is how good it looks.
Yeah, I was going to say I hadn't seen it in person.
Well, the actual movie looks good. People are definitely spoken out. They hate this cover.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know that I hate it.
I don't think it's bad. It's unique, at least. I mean, it's not phoned in.
Well, I kind of appreciate the fact that it's kind of like an old school release in that, you know, it's not just a blue box. Get out of the picture. It's kind of like, you know, there's just more to it than just like a blue case, you know. It's got some cool artwork inside. But the image of the film, I'm coming off of the Pioneer DVD. That's the one me and you watched way back. I think you and Adam got it for me for my birthday when we were in high school. And that was one of the worst transfers ever. And they cleaned this thing up. Looks great. Yeah, this was the first thing I watched. I watched this October 1st. Just kind of like, you know, the perfect movie to kind of get you in the spirit. I'll be honest, I'm not the hugest Texas Chainsaw fan, you know, but I appreciate it. I got a lot of respect for it, and I love all the documentaries about it. The making of the movie is almost more interesting than
the movie itself.
Right. But it was a good one.
I have to ask you one question with what you said before. Having sat on it for a few days, how do you feel about what people have been complaining about with the transfer being so clear? Some people saying they like the old transfer because it makes it look old, and
yeah, I can understand that, but for me, I haven't watched it 100 times, so like I don't have a specific version of it locked in. I've seen it a couple of times, but watching it this way, I mean, I like how clean it looks. I mean, it looks great, and I'd rather have it like this, honestly.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a good one. It's a good release. It's not too pricey for all the stuff you get. Number 2, The Uninvited. This is a 1944 black and white ghost movie. Criterion put this out, I think this year. It was a good movie. It was a little slow at some points. It was one of their bare bones releases, so it doesn't have a ton of special features. The music was really good. I don't know if you've ever heard of the song, and I'm probably not going to be able to remember it. It was like a real famous song back in the 40s, but it came from this movie. It was cool, you know.
Surprised it wouldn't come with extra features. They're pretty good about that.
Well, sometimes they put out some bare bones ones. Like this was only, I got a half off, so it was $14.
Oh, okay.
So it's one of their cheaper releases normally.
I've never even heard of that.
It's cool. if you're into the old black and white
Right,
horror
right.
stuff, you know,
Yeah.
it definitely moves at its own pace. But it has some. What I found interesting about it was the sound. Like they buy this old house, a brother and sister buy this old house, and they'll be like waking up in the night and you just hear like wailing and stuff. And nowadays movies, they'd be like getting out the house. They're like, that ghost is down there screaming again. What are we gonna do about this? You know, it's just like a totally different atmosphere. But it looked really cool.
What year?
44.
Wow.
So it's older than my parents. They were born in 46.
Wow.
Holy
crap.
But there's an actress in this, and I'll be honest, sometimes if I'm struggling on these movies, I'll get on IMDb, you know, because I'm bored. Mm-hmm. Not to say that it's a bad movie, but at my job, I sit in front of a computer screen all day. So when I come home to sit in front of another screen, sometimes it's hard. But one of the actresses in this, and I really liked her, so I looked her up, and it was like really sad because she became an alcoholic and like was found dead in her apartment at like 35 of like she started drinking on this movie to calm her nerves.
Her ghost is in the sequel.
Yeah. Get out. Tell a dog to get out. Quit chomping on your dadgum food.
Get over here.
Okay, so next up, the new Ghostbusters Digibook pack. Now, I only watched Ghostbusters 1. This could pop up again in the month of October to watch Ghostbusters 2.
Vigo.
But, I have to say it looked great.
I have yet to see it, so I'm looking forward.
4K transfer. Looks really good.
Is this the first of an older movie like this that's you've seen in 4K?
No, they did. I think My Taxi Driver and a couple of movies have been done in 4K. Basically, they master it in most Criterions are 4K or 2K. They master them in 4K, and then of course it's in 1080.
How does it feel like watching? You've seen a movie, so many times.
Well, that's the thing. I haven't seen this movie so many times.
Okay.
This is possibly the first time I've ever watched Ghostbusters all the way from start to finish.
It's on TV.
It's on TV.
So much.
My entire life I've seen it on TV. So I've seen every bit of the movie.
Right.
But
to sit down and just dedicate to the
I've never been a hardcore Ghostbusters fan. But I can tell you this. I get it. Yeah. From watching it this time, I was dying. There were so many
funny parts.
Funny, and I really enjoyed it. I loved it, especially like the part where my kid is up screaming for me because Dustin's being too loud. But there's a part where, the montage part where they pull the Ecto-1 out and start driving around the town. It's playing like the 80s movie.
Yeah, right.
It was like, you just got goosebumps almost because it's so 80s, but it's so good. So Ghostbusters 1, I watched that. That was the third one I watched. So we're going to take a quick break here and we'll be right back with the rest of them. Okay, we're back. Next up, I watched Insidious. Okay, I picked this up recently. I heard a lot of good things about it, but I had never seen it.
Yeah.
And me and Rachel watched it, and I liked it a lot. It was not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of very ghost movie, but it's not. Yeah, it's almost more demon movie.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, I like that.
That thing.
Yeah, that red thing. It's really, really creepy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed The Conjuring this year, so
I think we've gotten lucky the past year or two with.
That's James Wan did them both.
I know, because for a while I was convinced that most modern horror movies were shit. Almost always.
Almost always they are. Evil Dead remake. We hated it.
It was terrible.
Yeah, we had fun with it. I may have liked it a little bit more than Rachel, but I really liked how the beginning it's all about the mom.
Yeah.
And then it comes around to where the dad has to be a part of it.
Right.
And he has to be a big part of it. And I just thought it was cool. And it ended, of course, so ridiculous.
Right.
Like, oh, wow,
And they made a second one. They're making
There's
a third
second one. And they're making a prequel.
Oh, prequel.
So I need to see the second one. I heard it wasn't very good, though.
I heard the same thing about Annabelle recently.
I heard Annabelle was bad, too.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, I don't have it. I watched Fright Night on Netflix.
I have never seen that movie.
Now, let me tell you a fun story about Fright Night. When we grew up, when we were living where we grew up, my friend Chris moved, and these girls moved in his house. Okay, there was like 2 or 3 of them. The youngest one day, she was like a year younger than me. She came up to me and she said, we were outside talking, and she said, "Hey, you want to see some boobs?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." So we went over to her house, and she had rented Fright Night, and she fast forwarded to the scene with the nudity in it.
What?
Just I guess to
show you.
To show me.
This was a highlight of your life at the time.
I had forgotten about it until the other day. I was reminded of it. But Fright Night, classic. I had seen it way back in the day, but I had never bought it.
Now, does Romero have to do with that?
No. This was actually the guy who did this was Tom McLaughlin, I think, did it.
Oh, this is the one where the front of the cover's got the skull by the house and everything?
No, this is like just a house with like vampire fangs on Fright Night. Basically, you have a teenage guy, vampire moves in next door. Mm-hmm. There's a horror host who's kind of like Elvira, but you know. Mm-hmm. Here in Memphis, the horror host, his name was Savad.
Savad?
Yes.
What?
And it was Davis spelled backwards. Okay. That was like his name. I think, yeah, Savad. But this horror host helps the teen kill the vampires. And so, Samus, get away. Don't eat while we're shooting a video. Don't eat while we're shooting a video, Samus. So, Fright Night, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
It's an absolute classic. The music was awesome. The effects are so good. You will love the effects. It's on Netflix. Go on.
Like late 80s or early 90s?
Mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
Yeah, if not earlier. But yeah, loved it. Really enjoyed that. Next up, this is one that is Deep Red, Dario Argento. I've had this one for a while, and I don't think I had watched this version. Originally, I got that movie in a 50 movie pack, like one of those Mill Creek 50 movie packs. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching it, and I remember liking it.
It's hard to go wrong with Argento, though, right?
Well,
in this case, he might have gone wrong.
This was, I believe, his first. I think Bird with the Crystal Plumage was his first really big hit. And I think this one was. He called it probably his most famous and popular movie ever. It's not a bad movie. And in any other situation where you're not watching a horror movie every day.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with this release for me. This is the full uncut release. 2 hours and 3 minutes. I like my horror movies to clock in at about an hour and a half.
Right, short and sweet.
Short and sweet, unless it's like The Exorcist. Unless it's a master doing it.
It's like it has a reason to build up to that or something.
So it's also a giallo film, so it's more just like a stalk and slash, couple of some good kills, some really good gore for, I believe, 1975. Yep, 1975. Some good gore. But here's the part that drove me nuts. The uncut version includes restored footage that was never dubbed. So you'll be watching the movie in English, and then it'll just cut to Italian, and then it'll cut back to English. To Italian, back to English. I turned around to Rachel, she was on the computer, and I was like, am I crazy? Is this going back and forth? And then I looked on the back of it, and it's like portions of the English soundtrack were either never recorded or lost. So those are all in Italian. It just kind of drove me nuts.
It's like, be consistent.
You can choose to watch the whole thing in Italian.
Is that the only way you can get the movie right now? Is this version?
They have a Blu-ray version of this. Blue Underground put it out. And it looks good, but...
Not worth.
Is it Tenebra or Tenebra?
Tenebra.
Tenebra. I don't know how you say it. I love that. I love Phenomena. I love Suspiria. We're big Argento fans, me and him. We rented Suspiria when we were in high school, and it kind of blew us away. Yeah. So it's not a bad movie, but I wouldn't drop a ton of money on it. You know, best part about the movie, I can't not mention this.
Okay.
Soundtrack.
Oh,
Goblin.
The Goblin. Oh, then it's worth getting it just for that.
Soundtrack. Yeah, right. It's so good. I've always loved that soundtrack. So this one was was okay. So next up, I said to Rachel, I said, "Do you want to watch one of the movies with me tonight?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "But you have to pick it out." I said, "Okay."
Oh.
I said, "I'm gonna find some real garbage for her because I've kind of set up a row of movies that I want to watch, and I'll go over that at the end." But I gave her these options. I said, "Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation."
Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger. Her eyes perked up at the idea that they were in it.
They're in it together.
Because she knew it would be schlocky. Not that she likes them.
Right.
It's the fact that it would. She likes the idea of them before they were famous
Before they
being
did
in a
anything.
Texas Chainsaw.
Right.
The other option I gave her was a little movie called Meridian.
I've never even heard of this.
Okay, Meridian is a full moon release. The reason I own it is because I'm a big Sherilyn Fenn fan, and she's the star.
Oh.
So you can see on the cover there's a beast with Sherilyn Fenn. Okay, this came out in 1990. Charles Band directed it, hot off the success of Puppet Master and maybe the first Subspecies. I don't know when that one came out, but I bought this a few years ago and I watched it then by myself. And I thought, man, she loves Sherilyn Fenn too. She's a huge Twin Peaks fan, so we said, yeah, she's like, let's watch that. I said, you're going to regret that decision. And I don't know that she necessarily regretted it. We had some good laughs, but basically, you can't even say it's Beauty and the Beast because it's not that same story, but it's these two brothers, one's a beast and one's not. The first 15 minutes of the movie they move pretty good. There's two girls in it, her and this girl named Charlie. I don't know what her last name is because on the credits she just goes by Charlie. They're beautiful women. I'm talking 1990. You're not going to get much better than these two women. Okay. Carnival shows up in their town in Italy. They're in Italy. They invite the carnival back to their house, at which point they drug them and date rape the shit out of the two girls. And it was like, Rachel was like, "Oh, what is?" She was like almost offended by
Right.
because they're like basically date raping them, and then like the girls start like getting into it. You know, this is like one of those erotic kind of fantasy more than it is horror. But
because of the beast, it's just like
Sherilyn Fenn is in it, and that to me makes it watchable because I can watch her in anything.
Right.
But let me just mention something, a little bonus. We didn't watch this, but we fast forwarded through it. Decadent Evil.
I was gonna say,
look at that little dude on the front.
Oh my god!
It is a erotic vampire movie.
I would never know by the cover. Look at his face.
He's a little creature that's in a cage.
He's one of those little imps.
Dude,
hopping
that
around.
movie is horrible. Horrible.
Ginger Dead Man, horrible.
Worse.
Worse.
Well, Ginger Dead Man may be worse. This had nudity in it at least.
At least it had
could
that.
be a
I don't know. It
factor.
had Busey in it, so we might even.
We watched that the other day, I guess. What's today? Thursday? We watched that on Tuesday. So, after Meridian, it was bad.
You had to.
I was in the dumps.
Yeah, because I imagine you can't do two really bad ones back and forth. You'll get burned. You might want to give up.
Look, I've wanted to a couple of times. This video now solidifies that I have to do it because it's going up on the on YouTube. But we're gonna start over here. Had a little technical glitch, but we're gonna start back up with the last one on the list here, Zombieland. This is one that saw in the theater, loved it.
Very surprisingly too.
I know.
It was way better than I thought it was.
Way better. She bought it for me, I think, when it came out on Blu-ray. Sat on the shelf, man. And I said, after Meridian, I gotta watch something.
Something that's guaranteed.
Well, it's not just guaranteed, but it's new. So
Yeah.
you know it's at least gonna look good.
Right,
It's gonna have good sound.
Right.
It's not gonna be a 4x3 beta transfer like Meridian.
Just shift the decades around.
So, loved it. Again. Really enjoyed it. And like we said,
How long? You said you mentioned the time. How long is that movie?
This movie is not making it
I remember it
easy
being
to
pretty short.
Fine. Yeah, it did not run on too long. I'm pretty sure it's about an hour and a half. It fits right in where it needs to. 88 minutes, less than an hour and a half. That's the perfect time. But the writing in it's a little corny at some points, but overall, it's a great movie that shouldn't have been a great movie.
Right, but you know, it's funny. Like, I'm glad that these, you know, not just Return of the Living Dead. You had a few back in the day that were comedy horrors, but I think that there's been some good ones that have been coming out, and I'd say that's one of the better ones. Yeah.
But you know, okay, what do you think about this? Do you think this was one of the ones that was influential in like really putting zombies in the grave? As far as like, overdoing it.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, even though it was an enjoyable movie, I think it was the first one that's almost like the zombie craze. Because even for me, I've been one of those people that have watched Walking Dead, and I can't comment on where it's at right now, but I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm almost zombie overload.
No, I can't watch that show. I cannot do Walking Dead. And you know, if some people like it, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, for me, it's just too much of a soap opera.
Yeah.
Like, the zombies were never the things that made zombie movies great, and I think that's what they're confused on. If you look at Dawn of the Dead, you look at Day of the Dead, it's the characters. And it's the interaction between those characters put in the face of zombies.
Right.
What do we do here? Great characters.
Right.
Every single one of them.
Right.
Is a damn good character.
Shaun of the Dead, same thing.
Shaun of the Dead. There's, you know, it's
that's
not,
that's probably an opus to it.
it's not the zombies. That's not the point. Yeah. So, you know, not to rail against it too much, you know, it's if that's the kind of stuff that's getting you into horror movies and stuff, then, you know, go for it. But basically, that's got us caught up till tonight.
What are you thinking is going to be in the shuffle this coming?
I've got a whole
round?
I've got a whole list of. I've got, I think, up to 31 over there. I've got enough. Here's kind of the reason I'm doing this. Definitely, I think it fits with the Can You Take It formula of sort of a festival. But there's another agenda. I have way too many movies that I haven't watched. Yeah. And I think that is a symptom of people like us who love movies. You find a good deal, you buy it. And last year, Best Buy, man, I bought up like 10 horror movies on Blu-ray for like $5.
It's always dangerous going to Best Buy in October.
Yeah.
Like
I'm going to go again, and I'm going to go to Walmart, and I'm probably going to buy some stuff. But those have been sitting on my shelf. And that may be something we talk about, you know, in some upcoming videos and stuff like that. Is like, honestly, of all the Can You Take It crew, me and you are the collectors. We do collect movies, we buy movies. And, you know, it's to a point now, we're getting older.
You know, time is precious.
Time.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, how many times do I want to buy Halloween on Blu-ray?
Right.
You know, I think I've got 3 copies of Nightmare on Elm Street on Blu-ray. And at a certain point, you wake up and you're like, you know what? There's no need for it.
I mean, I think the occasional one that comes out, like that's a good pickup. The Texas Chainsaw.
Texas Chainsaw's good. I didn't have it on Blu-ray. And the documentaries, the commentaries, they make it worth it. It's almost like a criterion of that movie.
Well, I think it's just like when you kind of get into the bargain for cheaper games. You know, you're going to play it more.
Right.
You're not going to burn through it. But I think, too, you do have a lot of movies that you've probably gotten through these deals that are not always... How many times would you say you've bought them and it's turned out to be like, oh my God, this has been a great movie, versus one that's just like, can you take it? It's like... Yeah, these are $5 for a reason, you know.
Yeah, as far as blind buys, movies that I've never seen before that I bought, it's been a very rare occurrence that they were great.
Usually no.
Except for, I would say, one genre, and that's the horror genre. Because for me, most of these movies were blind buys when I bought them. I grew up, my mom didn't want me watching that kind of stuff, but I was obsessed with it. And so when I got older, when I was about 12 or 13, Phantasm being the first one, I just went and bought them myself. Back then, no one cared how old you were buying rated R movies. So I just bought them. Bought Dawn of the Dead, bought Night of the Living Dead. And so I got to experience a lot of those
early on.
And they blew me away.
Oh yeah, especially when you cite Phantasm. That to this day is amazing.
Why it's not on Blu-ray, pisses me off.
He broke in way earlier than I did. In fact, I remember going to Blockbuster and all I could do was look at the back of the VHS covers.
Oh, I spent many hours in what's called Cinemagic Video,
right?
Doing that for sure. But yeah, I think if I can clear through some of these Blu-rays I haven't watched, one of the things I hope to do, and maybe I'll make some videos about this, is maybe by the end of the year, and I know I can't get caught up on everything, but I can get caught up on at least, honestly, like this whole section is stuff that needs to be watched, you know, but there's stuff mingled in, you know, that I haven't finished yet. So, you know, Halloween's always a good time of year to get into the horror. So I've enjoyed them. Some of them I haven't enjoyed as much.
But it's still kind of the fun factor in it, though. I mean, I think a lot of times
it's a challenge.
Like, I can kind of do that with certain samurai and martial arts movies, but you know, not just unless you're really into that kind of thing. Not anybody's just going to pop those in and enjoy it. But,
right. Some other news for Can You Take It fans who enjoyed the Friday the 13th marathon. We're recording this on a Thursday. This Sunday, we're going to be recording a podcast that's a look back on that festival. Because I don't know that, especially towards the end, we were able to delve as deep into the movies as I would have wanted to.
It happens every time because it makes sense. I mean,
you just get so tired.
I mean, looking at it now, even though we're going to do it on Sunday, I can tell you that when you get through it, and I think that one was hard at times, but looking back compared to Nightmare and stuff, no, not that hard, but you get tired.
Yeah, your eyes and brain can only take so much. So I think we're going to have a podcast, and it should be most of the guys that were there, not everybody. But I'm hoping that turns out pretty good, and I hope we can do more podcasts on a regular basis. And do more videos. I would like to be putting up a video a week around this time of year. That's definitely not going to be hard with all the Halloween and horror stuff. But I think also on the podcast we're going to be talking about upcoming festival. It's getting that time again to do our next festival. So within the next month or so, we'll probably plan one out and shoot it, and then we'll get going on it and get it out on YouTube. So appreciate everybody watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Just me and Dustin kind of shooting the shit, which we've been doing for like 15 years now, and figured we'd share it with people.
Samus joined us tonight.
Samus joined us, and my daughter interrupted us by pooping in her diaper. So, thank you. But yeah, if you guys, if you guys have any questions or any suggestions on movies or anything like that, just let us know. We'd be glad to hear from you. And thanks for tuning in.